In this message, I'll be sharing an energy update for the month of March 2022 and also be sharing a tool at the end of this video that will be of assistance connected to this theme I am discussing. Many individuals may have been experiencing this on some level over the last few days and will be moving forward, connected to the intimate relationships that we have had in the past up until this point in time, connected to the mental body. As always, the emotional body is always connected, so this is also a player within this theme that I'm discussing. Very specifically, what is taking place is clearing the distortion connected to the interactions we have had with other individuals that have had deep meaning to us, where the underlying energy was a mismatch out of alignment with the expressed communication on a surface level, with the actions we have viewed, perceived from another. In contrast to what the energy was and is telling us. What this is on another level, and this extends to many spheres of relationships, and we see this very often on the world stage playing out, which will take the form of psychological manipulation at the end of the day. Whether the person is aware of it or not, that they are doing this, this is a game that is being played. Where, I'll give you an example. This is very common, especially with younger people, okay? In intimate relationships, if a girl, a boy, a woman or a man is really into this other person, they really like them, they really love this other person, but there is a lot of fear involved, the individual, when they are in the other individual's presence, the energy will tell them, there'll be resonance, that there is this love frequency, that there is an intention of one day being with this person. But because of how the individual is programmed within the society, they will do whatever it takes to avoid letting that person know how they feel. So the energy is telling the person that they are interested in them, but their actions will tell them a different story. A case will be that everyone knows when someone likes someone, other people, their friends and close circle, society will tell them, whatever you do, don't let them know. Ignore them. Pretend that you don't like them. So now there's a scenario where the energy is saying one thing and the express communication on a surface level is saying the other. Now the individual on the receiving end of this interaction ends up being very, very confused. And this takes the form of psychological manipulation, where over time, and this happens very often, an individual will end up doubting their own reality, doubting themselves, doubting what they are feeling, because what they are seeing does not correlate. And this results in the individual disconnecting themselves from their intuitive nature and not trusting what they see in the external. This is where we see repeated cycles take place for individuals, where they find themselves in relationships that are the representation of a mismatch, okay, of what their truest desires are. Because one day this can happen, and this has happened to many individuals, where someone who's now interested in the person who's been in the receiving end of this mismatch out of alignment energy is interested in this person, him or her, and is expressing it on a surface level. But because of the past energetic interactions, they don't believe it. Even if it is so blatantly obvious to the person, they refuse to believe it because of the experiences of the psychological warfare, this manipulation in the past. Although it may seem very subtle in increments in the past, not a big thing at all, over time it becomes a very big thing. Mental abuse within society, as you will know, goes very underestimated. Individuals can create their own very hell here on earth by this form of manipulation, by buying into it, by the continuation of the interactions with this type of expression. To doubt one's own reality will interfere with one's perception of what is truly going on. And this can be very traumatic for the individual moving forward. The energetics present to move on. That is one example of hundreds of examples, and we see this all the time. In essence, we're in a society where most people are pretending. Most people pretend to be this thing, act this way, but the energy, the truth of who they are is completely something else. And this is why individuals find it easier when they fall into the fear trap to play the role, to fit into those dynamics. And this is when individuals are not being themselves. So the energetics present are assisting with clearing density associated to this mismatch of energy and express communication. Over time, this forms as density within our energy centers, within our auric field, within our energy body, in essence. And this results in a distorted perception of reality. Like I said earlier, even when it is blatantly obvious, where the energy is a match with the facts presented, people will deny it. So, what will be taking place, and has been for many individuals and will be, is that these old memories will be resurfacing from the past. Usually it will be some of the denser, more traumatic experiences that stand out, and sometimes it will be a series of subtle events that will come up into your awareness in some way, shape, or form, because there is information, there is gold in those experiences, because those experiences will assist you with your current relationship and or your relationships moving forward, so that you can very clearly, like my last video, one of my last videos on Instagram, you can very obviously know the difference between the energetics. Okay, so memories will be surfacing, and at this time there is an overload of information being processed to the individual energetically and via the mental body. So individuals can experience an increase in ascension symptoms. Very much, this is what will stand out in terms of what individuals will physically be going through. I've been going through this for about a week now, where this overload of information will take the form of insidious thought patterns, and memory after memory, whether it be just a thought of the person, whether it be an actual visual representation, whether it's an amplification in dream state, an overwhelming information download. Okay, but there is gold in this process, because one is going to fine-tune the understanding, the perception and clarity of their experience moving forward in the coming days and weeks in the month of March. Where someone had a belief about a relationship in the past, another example, where that person really disliked you, your guides are going to come through with information and say, no, that was expressed on a surface level due to a program, fear patterning from the other individual. And the expression was a mismatch for the underlying energy. That person, in fact, did like you, was interested in you. So, this kind of wonderful information that comes through will make sense when the individual gets it. Okay? Because at the end of the day, everything ties into feeling through the heart space. Through an open heart, we get the information. As we all know, the heart is infinitely more intelligent than the physical mind, which for all of us, on some level, when we dropped into this physical form, has undergone programming through the very theme that I'm discussing right now. Through the heart space, the heart does not lie, feeling does not lie. And the information is extensive in terms of how it is delivered to you. So, if you are having very busy mental faculties, thoughts, if you're having insidious thoughts, if there's a lot of distortion showing up, when the darkness density is leaving, it will get very loud at first. So everything is extremely busy. And of course, this is connected to feeling. So depression, anxiety, anger may be coming up. A lot of pain emotionally, a deep sadness connected to that energy. All right, this is the energy leaving. You may get headaches, and you may get a number of the other related ascension symptoms that I and many speak about. But the focus will be very busy mental faculties. What is taking place is, when it gets very loud and busy, the energy is leaving, so a clearing is taking place. All right? Understanding that through this process, we find the clarity. Then moving forward, we know with being clear, where everything is obvious, that we don't ever have to, and it will be difficult to, find ourselves in relationships where the energy is a mismatch because of the dissonance, because of the light embodiment process, the frequency that we are now operating from, which is lighter, which is a higher frequency, a higher vibrational. Everything is clearer. We shine a spotlight on our experience. So we dissolve, transmute, release the density connected to the trickery, the manipulation, the psychological warfare. This is a big one for individuals, for humanity as a whole. What's very interesting is that where the warfare psychologically comes in is individuals, even when in those periods in the past, they can know the truth. It doesn't mean the other person is going to change their behavior. Well, that's not true. That is true, because the perpetuation of the communication on a surface level continues. So this is when you find yourself removing yourself from those scenarios. If this is happening to you right now, no one is supposed to go through anything that is a mismatch moving forward in the future. As soon as the individual is aligned within themselves, and that means saying yes to things and saying no to things, because then you're acting from alignment. Yes to the truth that is in alignment, even if it is a truth that one does not wish to hear, okay? Or no to something where the energy is saying this, but the communication is saying something else. This is psychological manipulation. It is actually, okay, the trick is it doesn't seem like a dense energy, but it's a very dense energetic, okay? Because people do it very subtly, and they are unaware of the impacts on another. And also during this time, we can reflect within ourselves when we have acted in such a way, and when we have in essence done this to others, if we haven't been aware of it. Okay? When this happens, karma is always at play. Okay? It's not punishment, it's for balance, for a deeper understanding. There is gold in every experience that we go through. So, you would have seen the Schumann resonances a few days ago, kicking off with some nice consistent activity in the form of 5D light coding with some white spikes, okay, moving forward. This is still happening and will happen moving forward. Understand that there's an intensity that has amplified within your individual reality, within the collective consciousness at the moment. A clearing is taking place. You're not going crazy. If some really intense emotions come up, if a lot of memories resurface themselves, you are ready, you have arrived. It is only temporary. The transmutation process is underway. It is what you have asked for. So, this is the energy update. Simply, in its theme, I use those kind of relationships, but remember, this can be friendships, it can be someone who's an authority figure, it can be a parent, okay? Anywhere in between, any form of relationship where it was close, where there was the frequency of love. Because it meant so much, we invested in it so much, and with this process, it was very hurtful to the individual, in essence, because the individual felt like they were lied to, which they were, but there is freedom through the discovery of the distortion. And when we identify the distortion, what is true from what is not true, we take its power away. That dissipates. No longer will we be confused moving forward in our experience. So here is a quick tool that I use personally for the last 4 or 5 years at least, every day. I use this in some way, shape or form. Make it your own. Use your own words. You can use different colors. You can change it all together. The point is make it your own connection with your guides. What we are doing when I take you through this is we are inviting in higher frequencies. We are inviting in our guides through intention. We are giving them permission to assist us with any clearing. Can be a clearing for any density we believe we have within our chakra energy centers. A density of blockages can just be a limiting belief on its own. We can do a little cleanse of our auric field. Okay, any dissonance, any density within our individual reality experience with this tool, make it your own, have fun with it. So in this example, what you do in essence is, it doesn't matter how you go about it as long as you are comfortable. So you can be lying on your bed, you can be sitting in a meditation pose, you can be standing on the grass outside or in nature. It does not matter where you are as long as you're comfortable. Connecting with the breath. Take in a few deep breaths and then breathe normally. And while closing your eyes, you are going to visualize a light spectrum of your choice. The color I will use right now is violet. And what you're going to do is, you are going to imagine this violet light glowing in your heart space. Okay, the size of a soccer ball or football in this energy center. And what you're going to do is imagine it expanding in size to cover and encompass your body, your physical form. So now you are visualizing yourself completely immersed in this beautiful, powerful violet light of energy. You're going to expand it even further to cover and encompass your auric field, a few yards, meters either side of you, up and down around. And then the room that you're in. If you're outside, just the space that you're in. Imagine that you're completely immersed in a violet light. Then you can use whatever words work for you, okay? This is something along the lines of what I use. I call in my higher self and guides to assist me with clearing, transmuting, releasing any negativity, any density, any interference from my mind, body, and world across all dimensions or realities. I love myself. I forgive myself. I am the light. I am cleansed. I'm purified. I'm holy. I'm connected. I'm aligned. And so it is. It takes a minute. It can take 10 minutes. It's really up to you. Just together with this, what can be very powerful is if you can feel into, by doing an energy scan for yourself through visualization, it may come across as just your imagination, but very often it's not. Your guides are guiding you. You can visualize any kind of muck, density, mud in your mind's eye, in any space where you believe there's a blockage, or kind of like this icky density in your field. It can be here, it can be here, anywhere. And see with the violet light, the white light, the gold light, the density that you see, whether it be this big or something in your mind's eye significant, being dissolved, transmuted, so turning from darkness into light. So you are actually doing it for yourselves with your guides' technologies at play. They work with energy and frequencies, as we know. Have fun with this. The core, which is powerful, is to use the light visualization. Use your imagination, have fun with it. Make it your own. This will strengthen the connection with your higher self, with your guides through this process. This is the theme for the month of March 2022. Have a magic month moving forward, everyone. Cheers.